what's going on, everybody? You're watching Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. The New York Knicks just gutted a win out over the Washington Wizards, and I appreciate the win. But at the end of the day, I don't love that Jalen Brunson had to battle through injuries on a second night of a back-to-back and had to play 40 minutes to beat this team. Jalen Brunson was sensational, though, my man. 20 points for him. He was on fire. He put the team on his back and said, come along, I'll will you to victory. But nothing is more apparent to me that the New York Knicks have to go out and add another ball handler that can create for themselves and others and run an offense that does not crater when Jalen Brunson is not on the floor. We broke a report down earlier today, or yesterday, from Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype, where he talked about Malcolm Brogdon, Terry Rozier were players that the New York Knicks were interested in trading for, as well as Alec Burks. We've also heard that Tim Hardaway Jr. is the name. We've also heard DeJounte Murray. But we haven't talked much about Jordan Clarkson. And we will today, as Marc Stein, one of the most plugged-in NBA beat reporters and NBA insiders, said this. Bruce Brown, who has been attached to the Knicks as well, does not exactly fit the description of the scoring guard New York is said to be seeking in the wake of shipping out Emmanuel quickly. The Knicks have a level of interest in Utah's Jordan Clarkson as well as a trio of guards they have been linked to previously, Malcolm Brogdon, Terry Rozier, and Alec Burks. And I agree with Marc Stein. Bruce Brown is a player that I don't really think the Knicks should be all that interested in. I'm a fan of his game. I like the way he goes about his business. I think he plays a brand of winning basketball. But at the end of the day, the New York Knicks, they already have a Bruce Brown at home. His name is Josh Hart. And you don't need Bruce Brown, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, and Dante DiVincenzo. The Knicks need another person that can create quality shots for players on the floor when Jalen Brunson is not in. Is that Jordan Clarkson? Let's break down the idea. Jordan Clarkson, no doubt about it, is a bucket getter, and he can light it up from the field. In 2022 and 2023, he averaged 21 points per game, 4+ assists on 44% from the field. But the thing is, in my opinion, he's an inefficient volume shooter who is on the back half of his career and doesn't play much defense. This year, he has been inefficient, shooting just 42% from the field, and he's shooting 30.6% from three. If I am trading for a guard and I am having to give up a guy like Quentin Grimes, it is not going to be for Jordan Clarkson. The only guy that I'm really willing to include in a trade for Quentin Grimes is DeJounte Murray. Because if I'm giving up Grimes, I want to add a starter. And I want that starter to also be the head of the snake and run the offense when Jalen Brunson is out. I think Clarkson can somewhat do that, but he would not be a starter. He would be a bench piece. And why are we trading Quentin Grimes for another bench piece when we did not even include him in a trade for Donovan Mitchell? That would be asset mismanagement. Does Clarkson make the Knicks better? Yeah, he fills a little bit of a hole because he can come off the bench and light it up. He is a scoring machine. He's got the microwave badge on probably gold. He can get hot. I'm just not the biggest fan of his game, and to be honest with you, I don't know how much he would fit alongside. Fit is the wrong word. I don't know how much a guy like Tom Thibodeau would play Jordan Clarkson. Doesn't play D. He's inefficient, and he shoots a lot of shots. I like him, but I don't love him. If I can get Fournier and a couple of second-round picks, sure. But am I going to turn in my Evan Fournier $18 million and get back Jordan Clarkson? I think there's a bigger fish that you can get out there. I'm not in on Jordan Clarkson. I'll ask you, though. I know there's people that watch this show that are fans of Jordan Clarkson, and they've asked me, yo, Marsh, should we trade for Jordan Clarkson? Well, this is your time to let me know. Should you do it? Would you trade for Jordan Clarkson? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I would assume it would cost Fournier and maybe a protected first-round pick or Fournier in a couple of seconds. Let me know. Y for yes, N for no. We're going to answer some questions from some subscribers coming up around the corner. But first, I got to give a huge shout-out to today's sponsor, Factor. Go to factormeals.com/KnicksChat50. Use that promo code KnicksChat50 and get 50% off your first order. Factor has chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals that are fresh and never frozen. They take just 2 minutes to heat up in the microwave, and they have options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner that include options for keto, for low calorie, for high protein, for vegan and veggie diets. I love Factor. I've tried the whole meal prepping thing. It didn't work out for me. Factor has worked out. It's factormeals.com/KnicksChat50. And remember to use that promo code KnicksChat50 to get 50% off. Because I love you guys so much, I'll put the information and make it clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. My guy Charlie C., what up, man? Would you trade Julius Randle and 2 unprotecteds for Lauri Markkanen? Yes, I absolutely would. I think Lauri Markkanen is a better basketball player than Julius Randle, but it goes a little bit more deeper than that. I think Lauri Markkanen is a better fit. He stretches the floor better. He shoots better. He may not be as much of a force and a wrecking ball and maybe not as good of a number one option as Julius Randle. But I think if you can just add a guy that is more efficient and a higher IQ, higher effort, and better shooter next to Brunson, I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't think you're getting Lauri Markkanen, though. From people I've talked to that are really plugged into the Utah Jazz, it doesn't sound like they're going to trade him. They have to be wowed by an offer. We know that the Knicks were in talks with the Jazz, obviously dating back to the Donovan Mitchell saga, and we know that the Jazz are huge on Quentin Grimes. Can you maybe do a Grimes and Randle and unprotected first? I don't know if that's enough to get it done, but I would pull that trigger. And it's no disrespect to Julius Randle. He's played a great season. But in my heart of hearts, I just don't think you can win a championship with him on your roster. Just my take. I'm sorry if it offends some people. Quentin Gilliam, $5 super chat. Do you prefer a backup point guard or any scorer off the bench? My ideal guy is a starting 2 guard that could be your point guard off the bench, a la DeJounte Murray. I also would like a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, he probably wouldn't start on your team because I'd rather see Dante DiVincenzo start, but he could play alongside Brunson. The guy that I want the Knicks to get can run the offense when Brunson's out and play alongside Brunson during a game. Malcolm Brogdon is 6'5". He can play off the catch. He can create for others. He can get downhill. He can go get a bucket, and he's an average defender. Those are the 2 guys at the top of my list right now. OG, so if we bring in another point guard, what do we do with Deuce? You do, and this is going to sound really mean, and it's unfair to Deuce McBride because he's earned playing time. Deuce McBride played 7 minutes today. He played 7 minutes on January 18th on the second night of a back-to-back against the Washington Wizards. That tells me Tom Thibodeau really doesn't believe in him. Maybe Deuce plays a couple of minutes, 3 minutes in the first half, 3 minutes in the second half as your backup 2 guard. But I think you just sit, keep developing, keep getting better, and be ready when your number's called. I think he's out of the rotation if you add another point guard. But really, I don't want to add another point guard. I want to add a 2 guard that can play the point. I think there's a little bit of a difference there. Noah Beyond. Who is available better than Randle? Who would it be would it be best to wait for the offseason to see if there's a superstar who is tired of their team? Who is available better than Randle? I don't, and I'll say this, and everyone's like, Marshall, you talking about trading Randle. Marshall, you talking about trading Randle for who? I don't think you have to get a talent upgrade over Julius Randle. I think you need a better fit. I think you need a higher IQ player. I think you need a guy that is more efficient. I think you need a guy that gives you more on defense. I don't necessarily need a better scorer than Randle. That's my thing. Everyone says, Marshall, no one out there is better. No one's out there is better. I don't necessarily need anything better. I think we will all agree that having 38 points from Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett is better than the 15 points you get from OG Anunoby. But OG Anunoby is a better fit. He fills what you needed. He gave you that perimeter defender. He gave you that knockdown three-point shooter from the corner. Fit is sometimes more important than a talent upgrade. And I don't think you need a talent upgrade at this current juncture for Julius Randle. Second part, would it be best to wait for the offseason to see if there's a superstar? You could do a trade now, and you could do a trade in the offseason. You have 8 tradable first-round picks. I'll tell you this much, though. If Randle, and I hate this has turned into a Randle show because I don't want to do this all the time, but if Randle struggles in the playoffs, you won't be able to trade him because nobody will want him because that will be 3 straight playoffs where he fell short of expectations. Jay Liv, what about trading for Gallinari or Bojan Bogdanovic as stretch bigs? Gallinari, probably get him for really cheap. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I'm not really giving up any assets for him, though. For Bojan Bogdanovic, if you're talking about the Pistons guy, I would be a fan of his because he can get buckets. He can be the offensive bucket getter on your second unit. But it doesn't sound like the Pistons want to give him up. Sounds like they want a first-round pick for him. I'm not willing to give up a first-round pick necessarily, unless it's one of your very, very heavily protected first-round picks for him. I think he's going to be 35 or 36 this spring. I don't think it's really all that smart to give up first-round picks for 35 or 36-year-olds. Good player, professional scorer. I just don't know if there's a deal to be made there. I don't know. Big Blue. After this game, Marsh, Kuz or Randall? Julius Randle is a better basketball player than Kyle Kuzma. But I think Kuzma fits just as good next to who the Knicks have as Randall, and maybe even a little bit better. You lose a lot if you lose Randall for Kuzma, though. I wouldn't trade Randall for Kuzma straight up. Because you'd lose rebounding, you lose toughness, you lose physicality, you lose a little bit of your DNA. Y'all know how I feel, though. Y'all know how I feel. As always, just want to say thank you and appreciate you. If you made it this far in the video, please hit that thumbs up icon and subscribe to the channel. We are about 20 subscribers away from 30,000 subs. We put out free, informative, entertaining, passion-driven content every single day, and we go live on the channel for every single game day, the #1 place on YouTube to watch a Knicks game with the real ones in the building. Subscribe, turn your notifications on, and let's go Knicks.